The entrepreneur as client zero. Welcome back to Built by the Journey, navigating entrepreneurship where every milestone matters, every detour counts. I'm your host, Chris Lively. Today, we're embracing the question, are you client zero? The goal isn't to invent a fictional person. The goal is to begin by observing a real one. So here is the question, are you client zero? Entrepreneurs are often taught that the first step in building business is to study the market. They are told to create an ideal client avatar, analyze demographics, and research competitors. They are told to look for trends, study data, and identify opportunities within industries. While all of those things have value, seasoned entrepreneurs often discover something surprising along the way. Sometimes the most powerful research does not begin with studying the market. Sometimes it begins much closer to home. It begins with studying yourself, not in a self-centered way, but in an observant way, in a way that lets you understand how real entrepreneurs make decisions, solve problems, and navigate growth. Because before you ever become the provider of a product or service, you are already something else. You are a participant in the marketplace, a buyer and a learner. Along that journey, you become a decision maker, a problem solver, and a consumer of services. You are a member of communities and someone trying to build something meaningful in the world. This realization introduces a powerful concept called Client Zero. Client Zero is the entrepreneur who serves as the first case study for understanding the behavior, needs, decisions, and growth patterns of their ideal client. Client Zero is not a theoretical person created through marketing exercises. Client Zero is you. The misconception of the ideal client is that one of the most common exercises entrepreneurs are asked to complete is creating an ideal client avatar. You may have been asked questions like, what age is your ideal client? Where do they live? What is their income? What is their job title? How many children do they have? And even, what car do they drive? While these questions may offer some surface insight, many entrepreneurs struggle with this process. They feel like they are guessing, inventing a fictional person, and feel disconnected from the exercise. When this happens, marketing becomes difficult because your messaging becomes unclear. Content feels forced, and offers feel uncertain. When your understanding of your ideal client is built on speculation rather than experience, it becomes difficult to speak with clarity and confidence. But what if the starting point was different? What if instead of inventing an imaginary person, you began by observing a real one, yourself? Entrepreneurs have an often overlooked advantage. You already live inside the world your clients live in. You understand the challenges of building something from nothing, the courage required to start, and the uncertainty that comes with growth. You have experienced the emotional highs and lows that accompany entrepreneurship. You have navigated the decisions that must be made every day while searching for answers, support, and the desire for progress. Because you are not standing outside the entrepreneurial experience, you're living it. And that means something very important. Your experiences hold clues, your behaviors hold insight, your decisions reveal patterns, your struggles highlight real problems that entrepreneurs are trying to solve. Your growth reveals the type of support that entrepreneurs truly value. When you begin observing these things intentionally, you start to see the marketplace in a new way, not from the outside, but from the inside. The idea of a client zero emerged from years of observing entrepreneurs at different stages of their journeys. Some were just beginning, some had been in business for years, some were rebuilding after setbacks, some were growing quickly, and some were trying to rediscover their direction. Despite the different circumstances, something became clear. Entrepreneurs were constantly searching for solutions. They were purchasing books, joining memberships, hiring coaches, and attending workshops. Then they incorporated listening to podcasts and watching videos. This all led to asking questions, experimenting with strategies, and overall investing time, money, and energy in their growth. And when you looked closely at their behavior, something fascinating appeared. Their actions told a story about what they needed and what they valued, how they searched for what would help them move forward, where they should spend their time, what tools helped them make decisions, and above all, where did they find support? When entrepreneurs began observing their own patterns, they began discovering something powerful. They were not just building businesses. They were also gathering data, real data, personal data, practical data. And that data could help them understand their ideal clients far better than the traditional research alone. You are already studying the marketplace. Whether you realize it or not, you are already participating in market research every single day. Each time you make a purchase or search for information, when you decide to join a community or follow someone online, you participate when you invest in learning, especially when you decide to try something new or decide not to. All of those decisions reveal something important. They reveal how entrepreneurs think, what motivates action, what builds trust, and what creates hesitation. You get great insight into what makes an offer compelling and reveals what makes something worth investing in. By observing these behaviors in yourself, you begin to understand the decision-making process that many entrepreneurs experience. And that understanding becomes incredibly valuable because it allows you to design your business with empathy by creating offers that address real needs. It allows you to communicate in ways that resonate and allows you to show up where your clients are already spending time. In Visual Proof, we explored the idea that our journey holds valuable evidence of what we are capable of achieving. Every milestone, every challenge, every lesson learned, and every step forward. All of these moments become proof that growth is possible. Client Zero builds upon that same idea. Your entrepreneurial journey is not just a story. It's also a source of insight. The things you have tried, that worked and didn't, the tools you have used, the support you have sought, the communities you have joined, the questions you have asked. All of these experiences become valuable observations by showing you what entrepreneurs actually do when they're trying to grow, what entrepreneurs need when they feel stuck, and what they seek when they are ready for the next level. Your journey becomes a lens through which you can understand others. Client zero begins with observation, not judgment, observation. If you ask to look at your own entrepreneurial habits with curiosity, where do you spend your time learning? Where do you listen? Who do you listen to? What companies do you participate in? What types of content catch your attention? What problems are you currently trying to solve? What tools are you experimenting with? What investments are you making in your growth? What conversations influence your thinking? These observations reveal patterns of behavior, patterns of decision-making, patterns of growth. When you begin recognizing these patterns in yourself, you start noticing them in others as well. And suddenly, your understanding of your ideal client becomes much clearer because your insights are no longer theoretical. They are actual experiences. So here's the question I'll leave you with. Are you client zero? And if so, what's next? Entrepreneurs who stay visible in business by remaining an option. And the world needs the reminder that you're still here. Until next time, remember, every milestone matters, every detour counts, and your journey is building you as much as you are building it. You can also find this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube Podcast. So be sure to subscribe to be notified when episodes of Built by the Journey become available. And let's walk this road together. In the meantime, please follow me on Instagram at On Track with Chris, because staying visible means staying an option. And your journey, it still matters.